Yeah, I swear to teach.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Knoxville Business Growth Collaborative. I'm Rita Thomas. I'm your funnel godmother. That's why I have a crown. Today, we're talking about how you can harness the power of AI in your business, and you don't have to be afraid of it. It's not going to steal your job. And some safeguards that you want to use when you are looking at using AI in your business. So I'm going to share my screen and show you some slides. Okay, we're going to get this presentation going for you. There we go. All right, so we are talking today about leveraging AI in your business. So first of all, and you can put it in the chat if you can answer any of these questions. We really want this to be interactive and for you to get the most value out of being here today and spending your time with us. So if you have used AI, let's say if you're a novice or an intermediate or an advanced user of AI, and which platform you like to use for what. So go ahead and put that in the chat and we'll be watching out for that. What about you? Said you like AI?
ChatGPT.
You like ChatGPT? He uses it almost daily, and he is a remodeler, a home remodeler. And what about you, Brett?
Yeah, I also use ChatGPT, so I kind of use it as like a personal advisor, almost like a personal assistant. I use it
Okay, so helping you word things or do research.
I've used it to, like, I'll feed it information,
Mm-hmm.
see what advice it
might have. Fantastic. Now, so you both use ChatGPT. Have you tried any of the other ones? Okay, we're going to talk about a couple other ones today. So what about you, Elise?
ChatGPT.
Okay.
But since I do events or travel, they've actually, you can put in like where people are coming from, to what location and the dates. That'll round up the best flights. You can ask for cheapest flights or most direct flights, and it'll put it all in a chart for me.
ChatGPT will do that. So she's a destination travel consultant. And so when she gets a customer and they're flying people in from all over, let's say they're having a convention, ChatGPT will round up all the flights that are the best prices and times coming from all the different locations, and then it'll put it in a table for her. So she looks really, really smart when she shows it to the customer. All right, so the people online, go ahead and let us know how you use AI. And ChatGPT is one of them. It is the Mac Daddy. It's the one that people have been using the longest, and it's pretty much permeated our society, I would say. And there are some more, so we're going to talk about that one and a couple other ones today. So there we go. Right. So I want to tell you a little bit about me and how I came to be your speaker today. So I am the mom of two amazing adults, and they are in this picture right here. And I chose this picture in particular because it's got neighbors, friends, coworkers, family, everybody from every group of people that makes my life so rich and brings me so much joy. And talk about joy. These four little children are my grandchildren, and they really, really, it's exactly what people say. Boy, there's nothing like having grandchildren. So they keep me hopping and they keep me happy all the time. So I'm an Air Force veteran. That's me at 19 years old, just a few years ago, ready to take on the world and eager and excited for my opportunities. And I got to go to the language school in Monterey, California. and I studied Czechoslovak, so I became a translator of that language. So I got to live in Europe, and I got to live in Germany, which is great because my family history is German. So I loved all of that. And so I have owned a business now for 16 years. And for 12 years of that, I had a full-time job. And part of that time, I also had a part-time job. And I just never could ever get that business to make enough money to support me so I could quit my day job. In fact, little known fact, I worked for Elise for part of that time. She hired me to do event photography for her last day job. And so we have a real nice history together. And today, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I'm a Keep certified partner, and that is a software package that's a CRM, like we were talking about. And I'm now currently seeking the same certification in Go High Level. And so it means I'm your partner in automation. And so within the first 6 months of buying the software, the company said to me, would you like to be a partner and represent the company? And so I became certified as a Keep partner. I consistently receive excellent reviews on social media. And I am supporting 24 Keep and Go High Level accounts at this time. And so that's one of my favorite things to do is just people say, this is great. I love all this, but I don't want to do that. I want to do what I know how to do, fixing the houses, teaching people music, planning destination events, and not trying to make the CRM run. So that's what I do for my clients. So our purpose is to put an end to the statistic that 80% of businesses fail. We all have a new business here. If I count the 4 years that I've been doing the automation, and 2 years and 3 years here in this room, and we're still very vulnerable to that statistic, the first 5 years. And so I want to eradicate that statistic. And I firmly believe that because our mission is getting the right tools in the hands of business owners so they can thrive and not just survive and not just scrape by, right? And we don't want them, their business going under for any reason. All right, so today we're going to be talking about AI. So what is AI? You have a little handout here, and this definition is coming up right now. So AI is, it's a computer system that is designed to mimic human intelligence. That's the scary part. That's what people are afraid of, right? But you know what? Let's think about it. We've been using, let's go back one step further to automation. Automation is what I do every day. And people say, I don't know if I like automation. I don't want it to annoy my customers. I don't want to lose control over what's happening in my company if I put stuff on automation. But really, I mean, how long have we had intermittent wipers on our cars? Since the 60s, right? That's automation. How long have we had the voice recorder thing, the voice machine? I can't. No, not voicemail, even before that, but the answering machines, right? And then you could call in from your phone and punch in the right numbers and listen to your messages. And so we've been using that technology for probably 30 years, more than that. And even your toothbrush, if your toothbrush tells you when to move to the other quadrant of your mouth or how long you need to be brushing, that's automation. So automation and AI, in my opinion, become dangerous in the hands of the person who are using them. They are not inherently dangerous or bad or good. They are a tool to be used the right way in the right situation. So we're going to go for the people that are using them the right way today, and we're going to talk about all the good things that you can do with AI. So you can automate your processes and get tasks done in your business while you're doing something else like this, like right now. If people can schedule appointments with me, they can pay for my services while I'm standing here teaching you. If once they do schedule, then they get an email and I start answering the frequently asked questions, so they don't even have to wait to say, oh, well, how am I supposed to do that? Well, here comes the answer before they even ask it. So that's all automated, those communications. You got reminders. Oh, you probably didn't get reminders to come here today. You did? Yeah. So that was on automation. In fact, I was at a lunch meeting this morning in the middle of the day, right before I came here, and the reminders were going out to the people who registered so they would remember to come and be here for this training. So then, data-driven insights. I am a big, I love numbers and, left brain. I think it's left brain. Like numbers. I like things in order. I loved accounting in high school when I took it. This has to go here always, and that has to go there always, and these two have to balance always. And I love that. I like order and structure, and therefore, I love making data-driven decisions because there's no emotion involved. Well, I'm not going to say no emotion. Sometimes there is emotion involved, but you can look at facts and you can track everything that happens. So, for example, okay, so we put out a lead magnet on Monday at noon, and by Tuesday at noon, in the first 24 hours, we had 372 opt-ins. And by Wednesday at noon, we had this many, and by Thursday, Friday. So you can see every day in every 24-hour period if the opt-ins went up or if they went down, right? But you can also measure how many of those people purchased something in the first day. How many of those first day people purchased something in the first day or even in the first hour? Because when you have a free opt-in, then you're going to upsell and offer them something that they can buy. So you can, if you measure it, or first, if you track it, you can measure it. If you measure it, then you can make decisions based on facts instead of saying, I don't think that's working. I don't think they like that. People aren't opting in, or they're opting in and they're not buying, but we don't know the time frame that it's been. Also, data-driven decisions, you can do A/B testing. So with that same landing page, let's say, you can change one word or change some colors, put it out again to a similar audience, see what kind of response you get. So that's all data-driven decisions. And all that AI can help you do all that, just exactly like we were saying with the flights. And I think we said that right before we started the presentation. So she is a destination travel agent, not agent, but consultant. And she can use ChatGPT to say, okay, got people coming from all these different cities into this one city on these dates, and it'll do all the research. And I say it like that because I've had to do all those research of all those different airports and times they take off and when they land and the whole thing, and it'll do all that for you, and it'll put it in a chart, and it'll do it in about 5 milliseconds. It's not like it takes 15 minutes or even 5 minutes. It's like instantaneous. So it's another example of data-driven insights that you can get from AI. Okay, so you can always deliver an enhanced customer experience with AI. You can use these AI platforms to help you really dial into what your ideal customer is feeling. And even if we say, oh, I know what they're feeling, because if I was targeting photographers, then I would know what they're feeling because I've been a professional photographer. However, I would still probably lean into the jargon of my industry and saying things from a data-driven place, which is my brain, and it's not the words that they're using to describe the situation that's making them seek a solution that I offer. So you can use AI to enhance your customer experience, especially to find out what they're looking for, what they need and want, and use words that's going to resonate with them. All right, so today we're going to talk about ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity. And on your handout is the actual website where you can get to them if you want to follow along and try a few prompts. Now, everybody knows what a prompt is, right? Because you've all been using ChatGPT. So when you're using AI, these platforms are for words. And I say it that way because there are AI platforms that will help you build an image or even a video. And so we're not talking about those today. We're talking only about platforms that will help you come up with wording, usually influential wording or research. So the three that we're going to talk about are ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity. And they're extremely powerful tools for small businesses. And like I just said, they can save you immense amounts of time. And it's like having a room full of people that are your marketing team or your research team. And you can say to them, like you could say, Bob, you do this, and Sally, you go find that, and Ryan, go find this. And they would scatter and go do the work, but it would take them hours or days before they could bring you an answer. With these tools, you have the biggest brains in the room, and because you have the entire internet at your disposal, and you can say, I need this and this and this from this perspective, and give it to me this way with this output, and it'll do it in an instant, not in a day or a few hours. All right, so it's going to streamline your marketing, your research, and your copywriting. So we're going to cover that a little bit later too. All right, so ChatGPT, they all have strengths, their features, strengths, and weaknesses. And think about this. They are a tool. So if you work in the home renovation business, so if I'm going to renovate this room, I'm going to tear up the carpet, paint the walls, and replace the windows. So I'm going to need more than one tool to do that. So if you think, oh yeah, ChatGPT, that's the bomb diggity, right? It's got everything I need. You're going to probably find that a couple of these other tools will be something very helpful to you. So think of one as a saw, one as a wrench, and one as a hammer. And they definitely have different skills and capabilities and things that you can use them for. So here we go. All right. So ChatGPT has generative capabilities. And let me look right here. So it generates various forms of creative content, like poems. Just the other day, I hadn't even tried this at all. I was always trying to generate marketing materials or do research on my ideal client or write emails or develop landing pages and those kind of things to influence people to work with me. But we were talking about the copywriting frameworks, and I wondered if there were frameworks for songs and poems. And there are, of course, you know that. And so I used ChatGPT the other day to make a song about what I do. And it used, she's coming around the mountain. No, she'll be coming around the mountain. And it wrote 3 verses about what I do, and with a chorus. So I haven't learned it by heart yet. I can't sing it, but it's pretty funny. But you can have it generate all kinds of content, and you don't have to give it a lot of information. In fact, some people find that they like the result better when they just give it a little bit in the prompt. So I've tried all kinds of different ways, and I pretty much like the answer always. But it'll generate content for you. It can be conversational interaction. So you can talk to ChatGPT in a conversational way. In fact, when I was taught how to use it, we were encouraged to say, great job. Just like, remember, you've got this room full of people. They want that feedback that they're doing a good job. Or you can say, no, you're way off base. That is not what I want. Let's look back over here, do it exactly this way, and don't do this, and include this. And you can tell it that, and it'll do exactly what you say. And to say, good job, it really likes it when you do that. So the knowledge base, it is trained on a vast data set. And you are looking at the entire internet when you're using these platforms. I just said entire internet, but like when chat first started, it only went up through 2021, so we had to be aware of that. Well, now it's got the whole internet now, and so you do want to know what it's trained on. And with this one, just be careful because everything you put in there, it's going to learn from what you put in there, and then when someone else asks a question about something you put in there, it's going to use that information. So if you have something that is copyright, if it is proprietary, if you want to protect like your recipe, like Bush's Beans wouldn't put their recipe in there and say, how would you change up this recipe and make it better? Because as soon as that recipe goes in there, it's on the internet. Okay, so just be careful what you put into an AI platform because it's going to remember it. And then it's going to use it again and again when other people ask similar questions. All right, so they all have limitations. So while it's powerful, ChatGPT may sometimes produce inaccurate or biased information, okay? And you have to fact check it. And you notice that ChatGPT does not cite their source. You can tell it to, but as a general rule, it doesn't cite the source. Some of the other ones that we're going to talk about do. The other thing is it will make stuff up. Now, again, I'm going to say 3 years, maybe 2 years, we've been using ChatGPT, maybe only 2. But early on, I don't know if it still does this, but you have to watch out. It will take the next logical step. Remember, it wants to make you happy. So I heard a story over the past couple of years of an attorney who was researching case law for some case and took what ChatGPT gave him, went into court, maybe didn't have time to check it all, I don't know, went into court, cited this case, somebody versus somebody, and it was completely made up. And he didn't check it. And he got disbarred. I mean, you have to know before you use the information that you're getting out of an AI platform that it really does exist. And what it's doing is it will take the next logical step in order to finish maybe the task that you gave it. So be careful about that. All right, so this is Claude, and it's spelled Claude, and the website is claude.ai. And so also online, if you want, you can follow along and open up these sites with us if you want. So Claude has that natural language understanding. It does a better job than ChatGPT does with natural language. And it excels at understanding complex questions and providing insightful responses. So it's designed for nuanced conversations. Claude is advanced beyond ChatGPT in this area, and it provides very detailed explanations. So it's built for collaboration and creativity. So it has the ability to collaborate and generate creative content. And that is one of its key strengths. It can work alongside users to brainstorm ideas and assist with projects. And so this just really opens things wide open when you think about it that way. So it does have limitations in factual accuracy, just like we mentioned before. Just like all the other AI platforms, it can struggle with providing accurate information. You have to fact check, and you have to make sure that you have reliable sources for what you're coming up with. And so it's currently limited with a barrier for some users because it's not widely integrated into other tools and platforms. So it's pulling from the internet, but it doesn't have access to the whole thing. I know that Claude will also cite its sources if you want it to, but it doesn't do it just as a part of its response. So the next one is Perplexity. Now, all of these have a free version, and you've probably seen the difference between, if you've ever used the paid version of ChatGPT. Do you use the paid version or the free?
I use the paid version.
Yeah, me too. We'll get through this Perplexity, and then I'll tell you an example of something we saw on the free version of ChatGPT versus the paid version. So this is Perplexity, and it is so it's search integration. It's built on a powerful search engine, and it provides accurate, up-to-date information. So like right up until now, for example, it would know about these storms that just hit last week in North Carolina and that whole hurricane. And so it excels at answering questions in a conversation, human-like manner. And it cites its sources. So as soon as you ask it a question, it's going to say, here are my sources. I asked it something yesterday, and it had one source, and then a little box said plus 15 more sources. So you can easily open that up and just start clicking on them and fact check and make sure the perspective that those sources are coming from before you use the information. And the knowledge graph is that it understands relationships and provides comprehensive answers. So the relationship understanding is advanced above the others. So what I wanted to tell you is, with the first version of ChatGPT 3.5, I think it said, if you told it to take a book and 9 eggs and a nail and a bottle of water and a laptop computer and stack them in a stable manner. The first version, it did not do a good job. It told you to stack them in a way that the eggs were surely going to break. And it was just, you were wondering, where in the world did you get this idea to stack this stuff this way? And if you used the paid version of ChatGPT and it was 4, now we have 4.0, little o, but it was 4 at the time. And it said, oh, you put the laptop down first, you lay the eggs out in a pattern, then you put the book on top. And it said to stabilize the eggs so they have something on top and bottom, and then you're not putting so much weight that they're going to break. Then you put the bottle of water and you put the nail across the top of the bottle of water. And this is why, and it told you why you would put each step the way. And of course it was illogical that was going to work. And so I like that they've integrated the human conversational piece in, and that it's giving you, citing its sources and telling you why. So now we're going to look across the bottom of your note page. We're going to look at marketing and research and copywriting now. But before we do that, any questions? Let me see if I can see the chat. Okay. All right, so we're going to look at marketing right now. All right, so you can do your targeted advertising. This is one of my favorite pieces about using the AI, because you can analyze your ideal customer. You can create personalized ads. So for example, if you're an exterminator and your specialty is scorpions and ants, you can you can survey people and or use a free offer, and if they respond to the free lead magnet that's about scorpions, you can bet they have a problem with scorpions in their house. And if they don't respond to that one, but they do respond to the one with ants, then you know those people have an ant problem in their house, or they're at least interested in learning how to get rid of ants in their house. And so you can target your marketing to those people, because if you're going to send out the same message to everyone on your list, you're going to lose people because you're talking to them about something that's not important to them. Restaurant. If you have a restaurant and you have a vegan menu and you also serve meat dishes and other things like that, well, you're not going to want to, if you send out, it's Meat Friday, right? It's like, where's the Beef Friday? And all our beef dishes are on sale, and you're sending it to the vegan people, they're not going to like that. So you can segment your list, and AI can help you with all of the things that are going to help you figure out which message you're going to send to which person. So it's going to help you then create that content. And it knows those copywriting frameworks. And what the frameworks do is, we could have a whole training on them, but they get people to stop and pay attention. And then, oh boy, great. And then they get them to stop and pay attention, and they educate them about what you do. And they have a little call to action, usually in an ad. So let's see what we have going on here. Yeah, it's fixed. Let's see if we're still online. We lost our power for a second. So if you are, yeah, we're good. We're still good. Oh, Amber. Amber's in the chat. Copilot now for professional verbiage or shortening my words. Okay, she's using Copilot as her AI. And she used to use ChatGPT. All right, good. Yeah, we lost power here just for a second, but it looks like we are in good shape. So I'm going to get that presentation back up again. I'm still screen sharing. I believe I'm still screen sharing. Yes. Here we go. And there we are. So we covered the targeted advertising and the content creation. So it can write blogs. You can say, I want to, we used to have a 500-word blog, right? Not anymore, apparently. The new rule is closer to 1,500 words, right? You can tell it your keywords, and that to avoid keyword stuffing, which means using the keyword too many times, and it knows how many times to put that keyword into that 1,500-word blog. It can write emails and give you the copy for your landing pages, this should be a headline, this should be a paragraph, and then you put your call to action here, and then you put a testimonial here. And it can tell you exactly how to build all those things. And then the social media management. I love using AI to get the same message out on the different platforms. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter, they all have, I wouldn't say that, maybe I would say the platform has its own personality, but really it's the person using it is in a different mood and looking for a different kind of entertainment or information when they're on the different platform. So that's what you want to do, is be in that mood with your message. So if you had the same, for an example, inviting people to this thing, if I was inviting on Instagram, I would talk about how fun it is, put a bunch of emojis in there and make it bright and bouncy. And if I'm on LinkedIn inviting people, it's going to be a completely different mood for the same exact invitation. And so AI can help you with that. So you can say, look, I'm having this event, I'm inviting these kind of people, and I want you to make me 10 posts for LinkedIn, 10 posts for Instagram, 10 posts for Facebook, and 10 posts for Twitter. And it will do it in the right kind of format that people like to see on those different platforms. So now we'll look at the research. Streamlining your research with AI assistant. I like that. That's my assistant. My AI assistant did it for me. So they can do information gathering, just like we're talking about with the airplane flights. And you know what I did the other day? I wanted to enhance this presentation, and so I said I was on Perplexity, and I said compare and contrast ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude for their strengths and weaknesses, which is exactly what I had already written the thing, but I got some real nice nuggets out of that research and was able to use it in my presentation. And quickly, so fast. I mean, the pain that we used to put our brains through, we'd get our friends together and go, what do you think? What do you think? I don't know. We're looking in books and we're looking, scouring the internet ourselves for hours, and it happens in a split second now. So data analysis, and this is again, we're talking about research. Analyze data and identify patterns. I was teaching this a week ago, and a woman is a very scientific person, very data driven, and she's currently in her job dealing with the GLP-1s, which is the medicine, like they help you lose weight and they help you if you have diabetes. And so there are some dangers or some warning signs. So she has been doing extensive research for weeks about that. And so she knows it inside and out right now because it's for her job. So while I was teaching this, she went on to one of the platforms and asked the question about GLP-1s that she knew the answer to. And she said it did a very good job answering it, gave the right facts, and explained it all in a way that anyone could understand it. So I was like, good. That was great. And then it can generate reports. It can create summaries. It can, like I said, compare and contrast. It can create any kind of report you want. The 10 years census information in Knox County and how that compares to Wasatch, Washington County, and why, and what factors influence those shifts in population. You can ask it any question you want, and just like that, the answer comes back. So doing research, this is just saving so much time. Again, you always want to check the sources and fact check everything that it gives you. All right, so this is improving your copywriting. Now, I learned, again, since I've been in business, I used to say copy and content, and they both meant the same thing in my mind. And I used to pretty much probably do the same thing before I ever had a business, but I thought marketing and advertising, like, marketing and advertising, they get you to buy stuff. That's what they do. So they're vastly different. And so the simplified way that I remember is content is about you and your company. So you write content so people will be aware that you exist and the solution that you provide and the problems that you solve. And who you are, kind of where you came from and who you are as a person, that's content. And copy is specifically words that you write so people will do something, generally buy your thing. But if you want them to follow you on Facebook, or if you want them to subscribe to my YouTube channel or answer me back, click in the comments and tell me this. That's a call to action. It's all part of copy. So it's words that you use to get someone to do something you want them to do, and it usually leads to a sale. All right, so we're talking about content here. Improving copywriting with AI-generated content. Now, this is where those frameworks come in. And there are probably a dozen of them. And it's a way, we're not going to cover it here in the presentation, but it's a way to arrange the statements in your copy to call out the issue that the person is having. Are you tired of this, right? Are you sick and tired of this happening? Don't you wish that you had a solution like that? Well, guess what? I have one, right? So that's some pretty bad copy right there. But the frameworks, they take like one is a before and after bridge. So they'll say, Sally used to do this, and now she does this. And the bridge part is, I showed her my 5-step process or whatever, and you can do it too. So that's one of them, before and after bridge. One is AIDA, and that's the one that I have been educated on the most. My coach uses that, and that's grab their attention, develop their interest, so you go deeper into what it is that you grab their attention with. Talk about their desire. Wouldn't you like to have an answer? Wouldn't you like to have a solution today for that problem? And then the last A is action. So AIDA, that last thing is buy my webinar, sign up for my membership or whatever it is. So now with copywriting and AI generated content, you can generate ideas. And again, being that person that's super logical, and I like, things just so, and straight lines, and it is or it isn't, there's not a lot of gray area. I'm not very creative at all, just not creative. And so I love AI for this reason. It's my creative assistant. And it comes up with fun ways to say things. Oh, here's something else you can tell AI. To say it the way someone else would say it, like Robin Williams. Or if I want something funny, then I'll tell it my 3 or 4 comedians that I like, their style, and I want you to write this and then use this style, and then it's funny. And even though I'm not a very funny person.
If you do it over and over, sometimes it'll copy it in the next copy that you do.
Oh yeah.
Because mine started to do it.
Okay.
So do it in a funny way.
Yeah.
Next time it does it.
Okay. Yeah, or you can say, I'm writing a speech, and I need to convince the people at my company that we should go in this direction, and they're pretty much opposed to it. So write this in the style of, I'm trying to say, Winston Churchill, right? You can say, write this speech in the style of Martin Luther King, or he's very influential. So you can get a benefit from writing like someone's style, but it's still going to be your speech, because you're always, whatever you get back from any AI, you're going to rewrite it and make it your own. But it helps you get those creative juices flowing. All right, so then of course you can refine. So here's something else. You can say, I wrote this. This is what I came up with. How would you make it better? Just like that. That's pretty.
Newsletter last week, actually. I do a quarterly newsletter to my whole company, and so I write like a document and I just feed it to it, and I'm like, get better.
Nice. Make it better. Yeah. And when after you get results back from them, you can say, the prevailing wisdom right now is to write in the 5th grade level. Can you believe that?
Nice.
Yeah. A lot of when I have my writing analyzed, it says college or 12th grade, and you don't want to write copy and content that way, because you're going to wipe out a lot of people. And it's not that they're not intelligent, it's they don't have time. Their eyes are landing on it just momentarily, and you really want to grab their attention. And if it's something that looks convoluted in a big long sentence with big long words, they're going to go right past it. So you can use AI to refine something that you already wrote. And here's something else I've done. I've used Claude to write something, get ideas for something, and then took it to Perplexity to refine it, because I wanted also to see the sources, that it was going to give me. So you can get something on one, and ChatGPT will give you a table. It'll arrange things in rows and columns in a table, but the other 2 won't. You can get really good stuff on Claude or ChatGPT and just copy it and put it in, Claude or Perplexity, copy it, put it in ChatGPT and say, turn this into a table with this across the top and this down the sides, and it'll do it. So you can you can use them in kind of like daisy chain them to get what you really, really want. All right, so here we're back to the hammer and the saw and the wrench or whatever. So you've got all these different tools, and they have their own special talents that they have. So when you're picking which AI tool you're going to use, consider the needs that you have. If you really need one for marketing and you need that real conversational piece, you're going to want Claude or ChatGPT. If you need one that's extremely, like Perplexity is the one, if you're doing medical research or like engineering kind of research, you want Perplexity. It's highly advanced in those areas. And again, remember, Perplexity is not integrated with the whole internet. It just doesn't have access to everything yet. So evaluate strengths and weaknesses of the platform, and when you're considering it, which features are the most important to you, and to choose the tool that aligns with what you need right now on this particular project. All right, so then of course you're going to experiment and test. I like to take the same prompt and put it in all three, see what I get. And then you can take, you can start off with a really small prompt and say, what's the best roofing material? You could ask that, but then the whole world has different climates. But what's the best roofing material for the Knoxville, Tennessee area, right? Or for southern U.S., southeast, and see what you get. Or you might want to say more of it, more specific, and see what you get. But I like to take the same prompt and put it in all three of them because you're going to get different responses. And we did this. We're going to do this here in a few minutes because we're going to get into our hands-on period. But two people in the same room at the same time can put the same prompt in and get a different answer. That's amazing. All right, so that's experimenting and testing. And of course, your user experience is going to affect. So the more you use the same platform, it gets to know you. And by the way, with ChatGPT, you can train it on you. So you can say, this is my website. Here are my blogs. Here are articles that I wrote. This is how I speak. These are letters that I've written. This is just all kinds of material. I don't think it can learn off video, though. It can learn off a transcript of a video, but it doesn't learn off video. But you can teach ChatGPT, this is who I am, this is how I talk. And then when you get answers back from that platform, it's going to be already aligned with what you say. So in that instance, you won't have to make as many changes as you would if it's coming straight out of the software with no influence. All right, so there's always ethical. We started off talking about the ethical considerations and best practices. And before we reveal what's on the slide, what kind of ethical considerations come to mind for you?
Power consumption.
Electrical power?
Yeah, like energy consumption. Usually that.
Interesting. Good point. Very good point. I'm just going to check the chat. So say more about that.
Well, it takes a lot of energy to run AI. And I think if you're using it for menial things, that there's an argument that.
Are we talking about the farms where they have the trucks and they're out in the rural area and they're really noisy and people don't like them? Is that what? No, those are those are more like Bitcoin things, I think. Okay, I got it.
Cryptocurrency also takes a lot.
All off track.
Okay. AI is a lot. So if you're using it for menial things, there's an argument.
Very interesting.
That it might not have the best impact.
You know, that had not occurred to me. Okay, we're good on the chat.
Maybe the interaction with big tech and medical procedures, where it goes the way that the medical tech company would want it to go rather than
I hear that.
the benefit of the corporation.
So yeah, we could lose our human perspective when making medical decisions.
And eventually the ethical, on another note, all the information, if it's written by AI, eventually all the information that we're gonna find is gonna be AI and not human. Right?
Cool.
Yeah, there's a big argument about like what's it, the dead internet theory?
Yeah.
What's that?
Basically what he was saying, that the internet is basically just feeding itself at this point, that most of the web page visits are, it's mostly bots and not actually human interaction, and that AI is really catalyzing it.
And if you use it to make blog posts, or if you use it to do social media posts,
Yeah.
those posts are generated by AI, and then if
Then they're reconsumed, but again.
it'll be used again.
Yeah.
So have you all heard that there's a list of words that are telltale? I wish I had brought that list with me.
Well,
That would be
a
it.
supercomputer analyzes Twitter feeds and stuff like that to track this stuff. So when people are using in the world AI for terrorism, I'm in the military, so terrorism, starts triggering those words, and so they're scrubbing AI stuff so that they know what's happening and what people are talking about. I know for a fact that counterterrorism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really weird, but it is what it is. And they've been using that AI out at Oak Ridge for, supercomputers, what, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. And another ethical consideration, it's just like the rumor mill and the telephone game we used to play, but it can go like wildfire. And even if it's not true, something can be said, and it permeates. Again, that word, I said it twice today, and I don't even usually say it, but it goes like wildfire, and then people take action based on that, and maybe even a mob can form based on something that's completely not true, that started from someone. Because AI, again, is not inherently bad, but it's who's using it and how they're using it. And it's just like the television. When television first came out, it was vilified. They had two camps. Some people said, well, no one's going to sit in their living room and look at a box for entertainment. And they were clearly wrong. The other ones felt like just evil, it was just pure evil. I think partly because of the particles, and they didn't understand the technology of how the people got into the box, but they thought the television was horrible, and the television itself isn't. And I have grown children now, and when they were little, I knew that watching a lot of television was not something I wanted them to do. And so my son, I had a boy and a girl, and my son, he would test and test and test and test every rule, every boundary. And so when we were in the military too, and so when we lived in Germany, and he was 3 years old, we came back to the States, and we only had one channel that spoke English, so that was pretty easy. You either watch what's on or don't watch the TV. But then we came home, and this was 30 years ago, so we had maybe 20 channels, or 50 channels. Whoa, oh my gosh, it felt like. But he was only allowed to watch 3 channels, and they were 11, 22, and 44, which was great because it was 1, 1, 2, 2, and 4, 4. And so his little fingers could do that on the remote. But I told him, if you go with the up, 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 if channel surf, I didn't use the words, but I said, that's it, it's going off. You punch the numbers in, or you don't watch TV. And of course, guess what he had to do? He had to do it. Okay. So, but then when they got a little bit older, I always controlled the channels that they were allowed to watch. But then I had this apartment, and their bedroom is down the hall, and I got to get a TV in their bedroom. And so they had these only limited channels, and my daughter is such a tattletale. So as a boy was born first, and then my daughter. And but she wasn't allowed to tattle because I didn't like that. So she wasn't allowed to go, Mommy, Joey's doing something. So she would stand down the hall and go really loud, Joey, is that one of your channels you're allowed to watch? And if I didn't come right away, she'd be like, are you sure we're supposed to be watching this channel? And then I could hear him going, shh, shh, shh. But the TV itself is not evil, but there is some really awful stuff on there. And yeah, the deep fake videos, and we don't even have to worry about them coming because they are here.
What's a deep fake video?
It's where
It's like AI generated video, so
Hmm.
there's a lot of concern that like you might see a video about like a politician fighting or whoever, and it's not actually fighting.
Oh, okay. Sure, I'll know.
Yeah.
So-
Deep fake.
and it'll probably be like someone could take video of what I've just been saying today and change 2 or 3 or 4 words or change all the words. And it'll be me in my head and my face. And they can even make my lips move to the words that they use, and it'll be my voice. And it is really hard.
I've got one that you can use the voice
To-
for, but not the face.
Uh,
I've done presentations, held it up, and had to put Donald Trump's message or Biden's message.
to say what you wanted to say.
What I wanted to say, but it's in his voice.
Oh my gosh. And see, I thought those things were in the hands of, I didn't know they would be in the hands of everyday people like us. Of course, he's not an everyday person because he's in the super secret army. He's anti-terrorism.
Definitely.
It really is. And I mean, our elections, we've always held them sacred, and even when before TV, they had to get on a train and go from city to city. And so you knew you were hearing from the person's mouth what they said, what their position was. And when TV came along, again, people were like, oh, I don't know about that. But now you just can't know that either one of them said what's right there on the TV. Well, if it's on a main news channel, do you believe it?
Yeah, I don't really watch them.
Yeah, okay. So here in the room, we're hearing, I don't watch the news at all, and someone else saying, I don't believe what I see on the news. So that's the hard part because, again, we talk about an election just because we're in one, not to be political, but already I feel like I can't do enough research to figure out if they're telling the truth or not, or if I like that position that politician has. And how does it affect other things that I care about? I already didn't feel like I could do that much research. Now I got to figure out if what I'm seeing is a deep fake or not, right? So there are some huge ethical considerations for using AI, and data privacy is one of them. Of course, your medical records, we know they're all electronic now. So the good thing is, you can go and find, I went to this doctor and they said this, and you can download that. And then this doctor, or they sent me to this specialist and they said that, and you can gather all that yourself, which is nice. But we have to believe that.
So you said earlier if you put it on AI, or if you put it on ChatGPT or whatever, it's available out there. There's doctors that do transcribing on voice, and they're using AI stuff.
Yeah, there are channels.
Coded? Okay.
There's HIPAA approved channels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a client who used me to help with her CRM, and she does some kind of counseling, and she has this portal that she has to use that's HIPAA compliant.
Got it.
And so we had to
But
work
it's
around.
AI inside that portal.
That I don't know. I would think not.
I use the paid version of ChatGPT, and so long as you're on like a business account, the information that it generates stays, doesn't share it with the rest of it.
Ah, very good.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. Right, exactly. So the presumption that was just declared in the room is that when you're on ChatGPT and if you're in a business account, then the information you share in that account it doesn't learn from it and use it outside of your results. And then someone else said supposedly. So of course, we choose to believe what we choose to believe, and we hope that that is really true. All right, so bias and fairness. Of course, all of these models that we talked about can have bias, and it's the data that they're trained on. So of course, the AI doesn't have any emotions, but it's finding things and sometimes presenting things in a way that can be biased. So you always have to watch for that. And again, check your sources. Transparency and accountability. The thing I love about that Perplexity is because it tells you exactly where it got the information from. And I'm pretty much, that's my first go-to now because of that. And human oversight, of course. We know it's all going to come down to human oversight. So we have oversight over ourselves and over our team and over what we choose to believe. And these AI tools should never replace human judgment. If something doesn't look quite right, it probably isn't. So you want to always check on that. Okay, so that is embracing AI for small business success. They're becoming increasingly more powerful and increasingly more prevalent in our society. And so I believe that gatherings like this are going to become much more important, and we're going to see more and more in-person things happening versus online things. And so you can leverage AI for marketing research, and copywriting.
You think it's going to happen more in person than online because of the disconnect that you're getting to AI? Is that what you're?
Well, the disconnect plus the fact that I know for sure what you said to me just now.
So
you
no
said
fake.
it to me, right?
Okay,
There's no
okay.
deep fake, and
That's cool.
yeah. So then we get back to body language and the way that for thousands of years we have communicated already. I think there's gonna be a big resurgence.
Oh, yeah.
Even though the internet, it makes things convenient and quick, we're still gonna use it for sure. I think people are gonna start to really appreciate the being in the same room with somebody a lot more than we have in the past years. Okay, so a little about me. So I do a few things, or I am a few things. Photographer, entrepreneur, I'm a speaker, I'm a 2-time Amazon bestselling author, and a veteran and an automation expert. So I told you I have 2 children, and so I grew up in Ohio. Actually, I like to say I grew up when I left Ohio, which is so true. And I joined the Air Force, traveled all around, got married, had babies in Germany. They think that's just a gas that they were born in Germany. And then I settled in Chicago for 11 years. Then I moved here, and I just feel like I got here as fast as I could. And I don't think I ever want to live anywhere else. I love right here. And so I teach business owners how to understand the systems that they already have in their business. And if they don't have the right systems, then I help them find something that's going to work for them, because you can get exhausted, overwhelmed. You can lose out on leads. You can lose customers if you don't have, you're on that hamster wheel over and over because you're trying to touch every single client at every step of their journey. And it gets to a point where you're not able to do that, not do it well, and you're going to make mistakes. Stuff's going to fall through the cracks. So I help you figure out how to delegate and automate to where then the business owner, you can keep your eyes on the horizon. You're watching for opportunities. You're making sure that you're the visionary for the company. You're not the person sitting there a slave to the keyboard making things happen. And so if you want to work with me more, if you enjoyed this today, then I have services that I provide, and I have a handout for you too. That's the same screen there. And so I do monthly support, where all the way from you're doing your own systems, and I'm helping you once a week all the way up to I do everything and you don't have to ever touch it. And then I have a monthly subscription that's $97 a month, and it's group training, kind of like this. And we do office hours twice a month. So everybody comes and says, this is what I'm working on, and I don't understand how this works. And we open up the laptop, tell me where it hurts, right? And we just get that one question answered. We move on to the next person. Plus, it's unlimited 24/7 Q&A in the email. And so you ask me questions anytime. If it's 3 a.m. and you're working on something and you hit a wall, you can ask me, and I am not going to answer you at 3 a.m. So I'll tell you that right there.
You can have an auto AI generated response. It's 3 a.m. Why are you emailing me?
That's great. And but you have unlimited email Q&A with me, and then there's a landing page where people talk and ask me questions. It's another way to get more information, and that's kind of a fun networking also, just to meet other business owners too on that LinkedIn page. I'm going to check the chat, and now we have a half hour, and we can play around with these websites if you want. And here we go. Oh, Jeffrey Spellerberg. I wanted to know where in Ohio. So I was raised in Marion, Ohio, and that's
I'm looking at my computer.
okay. So Columbus is right smack in the middle of the state. That's the capital. And yeah. OH. You're supposed to say IO, right? So then Marion's about 20 miles due north of Columbus, just right in the center of the state. All right, so we are here. We're going to open up the laptops, and we're going to play around with these websites. I'm going to turn the camera this direction so you can see what we're doing, and you can follow along, and I'll check the chat, of course, and see how you all are doing. One person went to get their laptop, so we'll just be here until another half hour, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you all have in the chat at the same time.
Are you aware of any AI platforms that automate screen purchase processes? I'm not sure if I'm saying it the right way, but something that would normally be a human function, like if I needed to crosswalk off between two platforms, normally a human would say, like, okay, I'm looking at this information. Based off this information, I'm going to go over this platform and do this process.
I have not heard of any that do that myself. I'll bet you they either probably are already here, or they will be, that capability will be coming soon. I have to plug in this laptop. Okay.
So I kind of am a spreadsheet nerd, and so what I do is I track all of the retention like on a weekly level, and I conditional format it, so I know green number good, red number bad, and then I use that to hold people accountable.
Wow. Yeah, so what is your metrics on how they keep the students longer? Like, what do you coach them? Or?
Yeah, so that's kind of the great thing about what we do is like I have head instructors, so like they're instructors that basically teach the other instructors how to. So it's like they're a resource and making sure that the instructors are as good as possible.
Yeah. So you've done what you did with those people, and now they're having that.
Yeah. It's a good structure, but like I said, our problem right now is we're just capped on lead generation. So finding ways to generate leads is kind of the next step for us.
So that's generate leads for students, not for instructors.
Oh, we definitely don't have a problem.
That's what you were saying that
Yeah.
early in the meeting. He can put out one thing on Indeed and get 600 applications.
Yeah.
But then you have to weed through because they don't all fit.
Right. And a lot of it is just like we need to have conversations with them to see what they're like, because what we look for in instruction is stellar communication and being able to present yourself well. So generally, like we have like a 50-minute call with them just to see how they talk more than anything else.
Right. Yeah. It seems like musicians would be personable, but probably not always.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. There are probably several that are very technical and, more.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about musicians is like the personalize really are all over the place. You said he played trumpet for a while, and I'm gonna guess he's very different from some of the bandmates that I've had in the past. And it's just personalities and music are it's just personalities, right? So, yeah. What we're trying to do right now is we had hired a marketing agency to kind of robust our marketing campaigns, and they just like didn't work. And so now we're moving all of our marketing efforts internally. And so right now we're kind of like gearing up to kind of like relaunch our social medias and do content creation with our head instructors and that to kind of go back to the generation.
Well, so your personalities are going to say not from the marketing.
Yeah. Well, the marketing agency is they're good people. It was kind of like outdated marketing. It was very kind of like how do I say, kind of corporate, right? Like the content that they get. So like it was cool. We had a production day and we had a site wall, and I basically built a studio in that site wall and had a script and the whole 9 yards. But the way they edited the videos and the way the script was, it just kind of came across as impersonal, like very kind of like early 2000s, just corporate kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we're trying to cater to creatives, right? It's music, so it just ended up being a big flop, basically. I spent like $30,000 on it. So.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's painful.
So Claude is the one that was more complex and advanced. So give me something, like I just signed up, give me something that I could put in there that would be more complex.
Okay, tell me this, whatever you sell that's easiest for you to deliver and that people will pay good money for, but it's
now
costs you the least, or with resources.
Painting.
Okay, painting. So I would.
Like painting a house could be $10,000.
The outside. The outside or the inside, either one.
Both. I usually get $4.50 to $5 a square foot. So 2,000 for the house would be $8,000.
And then that's a low overhead for you, which is
very low.
Good.
We got labor and we got
Fantastic.
like 37 cents to 50 cents is cost. And you got labor.
That's fantastic. So I would
Well,
say
per square foot, you got $4.50.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I would ask, what's the best way? And now, you're going to be marketing to the C-suite, probably, right? Those big houses, 2,000 square foot. So I want to sell indoor painting, interior. Yeah. I want to sell interior painting of the whole house to a C-suite level customer. And what kind of social media posts would you suggest I use? Or maybe approach. What kind of social media approach? Because it might say, oh, you should do some written post and some video, and let's see what it says. Ooh, we could put you up on the screen.
LinkedIn focus.
LinkedIn, of course. That's where
LinkedIn focus, create a polished company page, share high quality before and after photos, Instagram, curate a portfolio of your best work, use relevant hashtags, content strategy, highlight case studies of corporate spaces you transform, offer insights on trending office. That's cool because it's corporate spaces, C-suite, they would be designing corporate spaces. Okay. Engagement, interact with posts from local businesses, leaders, respond promptly with comments, inquiries, paid advertising, use targeted ads on LinkedIn and Instagram to reach C-suite.
Interesting, Instagram.
Not Facebook.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, Facebook, I would not expect to see C-suite people on Facebook, but I wouldn't necessarily expect them to be on Instagram,
Yeah.
except that that's probably where they would go when they want a mental break. They're
Wow.
tired of thinking about heavy stuff and they want to go.
Every $100 I spend on Facebook ads, I usually make 10,000.
So who are you targeting though on Facebook?
65-year-old women.
Okay. That's definitely not C-suite. So good job. Good on
Mhm.
you for that. I'd keep that up all day long,
Like,
twice
when I
on
get up
Sunday.
When I get up at networking, like literally ChatGPT did this for me yesterday, a presentation that I said at a meeting. I keep track of all of them, so it was. Ladies and gentlemen, according to my highly sophisticated, algorithmically enhanced and borderline prophetic Facebook analytics, it comes to my attention that the demographic of this 65-plus-year-old women are in dire need of my bathroom remodeling expertise. Yes, these fabulous ladies are apparently yearning for the lavishness of a walk-in shower, the opulence of upgraded countertops, and perhaps, dare I say, the luxurious splendor of non-slip tiles. So, help me transform their laboratories into sanctuaries they deserve, because according to data, let's face it, data never lies. 60-plus women are my target market. Refer me your Medicare clients today. ChatGPT did that, but it's because the demographics of Facebook has shown that like 65% of my ads are clicked on by women, and like 90% of those are 65 plus.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So two things: they're either alone, their spouse has already passed, or they are married, but they don't want their spouse doing that work up on ladders and things like that. Yeah,
Almost always the second.
yeah. And guess who the decision maker is? The woman.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think about doing ads on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
More profitable.
And I heard a little twist in there. You're looking at residential, but you could do commercial office painting. And if you're already in the house of the CEO or the CFO, and they know they need their lobby painted or all their hallways.
Good. I like this. This is a little bit different than ChatGPT.
Did it give you sources? Oh, you're using Claude. Yeah.
So what if I would say, I like it, make it little. Cool, good.
So Jeffrey asked a question in the chat. He has files on prompts that he sent to my email, so I'm going to open that up. Do you have sources for more, or is this outdated by now? I don't know if I understand that question. Do you mean using prompts? That is not outdated for sure. That is still how we all get what we need out of our AI. Let me see what he sent me. He sent me 44 chat GPT prompts.
No, I went through it all. I put it as personal. But if you put it as business, that'll impact. Yeah, but yeah.
So, I'm going to share what Jeffrey sent us on the screen. Oh, okay.
The complexity is your spreadsheet. Not like complexity that.
Yes, I think they're gonna hold you part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually paying someone to develop spreadsheets so that I can, spreadsheet part off. That can, so I'm turning my business over to my guys along the line. We've got a board, he wants to take spreadsheets from different departments and, really good, so I've got to create.
Yeah, that's what I do, so like, basically, every Monday, I just have a spreadsheet. Like this, that's the overview. I have to have that department just fill it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they like fill in, like this is like my sales stuff, so like I've got each member, and then they put in like how many leads.
Yes, Jeffrey, that's definitely true. The more precise the question is and the more detailed, then the better the answer you are going to get. That is absolutely true. I'm trying to show the,
Like, I've got 9 months before I'm deploying, and so my idea is January, I'm gonna list it to my employees, and the last 6 months here, I'm gonna do like very high level, instead of basically where you are, instead of, I'm sure there's complexity in the music lessons, but like a bathroom remodel, they've got a lot of moving parts inside there that could change, could be better, could be worse, they could use the wrong word.
Yeah.
You could have different theories, each probably, but there's so many hits or misses.
Honestly, I don't worry about the lessons much anymore, like most of mine, like sales efficiency and stuff like that. I'm not even really thinking about the lessons at this point.
That's cool, because the lessons,
They're like a standard, yeah, so like, that's why I have the head instructor. Go make their retention.
cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, I would love, do you have a car?
I don't, I have a name and a number, obviously, but I've just like had no need for this at all.
Because everything's on.
Yeah, it's all.
Would you be open to a meeting?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll get you. I'll reach out to you. What's the number?
Yeah, it's 865-208-8512.
can you write down your information for me too? So, I know we're getting close to the end of our time together, and I did want to ask, if you enjoyed this, if you would give it a little testimonial video, then we can spread the word and more people can learn about it.
BRETT? What's your last name?
Duxbury here.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So this on the screen, we have some information that Jeff Fellerberg sent us. And I was trying to say Stutesbury. Some guidance on writing your prompts. Using verbs is very helpful.
So you submitted this to ChatGPT and
No, this is some guidance on how to use ChatGPT.
Oh, okay.
Or how to create your prompts in general for any platform. So be clear and specific, use verbs. Whoops. Let's see.
Yeah, so John, one of the things that I've done with ChatGPT is I've actually fed it my spreadsheets. That way it knows about each of my employees and their track history basically. And I'm like, based off of this information, what should I make for, I'll use it as a personal advisor, but it like I've fed it enough information to where it like knows everything about every employee.
Wow, so
Yeah.
Justin Smith usually keeps a student for 5 months and they start telling them.
Yeah, so like,
That's cool.
what can you tell me about?
I want to see this.
So it knows that one of my top performing instructors.
And you're using
Yeah.
ChatGPT for this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you constantly have to feed
Mason
information
Miller.
in though.
He gives it spreadsheets.
Oh,
Analyzes the spreadsheet.
So
to do that.
I will feed,
Shut the
so
front
like
door.
I've given it these spreadsheets. So this is information that I track on a weekly level for every single instructor that I have. And basically I have it read this information and then I'm like, okay, like based off this information, what should this
Oh my
individual
gosh.
focus on?
super.
That's awesome.
You're a super user.
That's cool. I like that a lot, but it sounds like the perplexity might be better.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah,
is,
maybe.
I might-
Oh,
because
yeah.
It does, it's kind of problematic trying to get spreadsheets. It sometimes will get information wrong or it'll just totally overlook a certain cell data point. So I have to go back and tell it like, please reread cell BL34.
Oh,
Make sure
interesting.
that it has that data. So it still struggles to read spreadsheets somewhat, but if I put it in like a document and then just give it the document, it reads Word documents. Spreadsheets.
Here.
You got sales covered to the.
Yeah, well, granted, my spreadsheets are somewhat complicated, so, but I'm hoping that like over the next year, it's a lot better at it. Make that easier. Yeah.
Here are some actual suggested business prompts. So, online business ideas to start with how much money I have and how many hours a day I have to spend. That's the first one. Oh, this is a really good tip right here. This one. Whoop.
It might not work on TV.
Yeah, the TV screens.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. So you see this second one, act like a world famous entrepreneur. If you tell the AI who it is or who you are, you are
Like Mr.
a
Wonderful.
expert.
Shark
And then it knows the thought process and the brain parameters that it needs to use for the output. So, oh, here's a good one. I only have this much money and I want to start a business that makes money fast. List out 10 small business ideas I can launch from my city and tell me why they are good options. Look at that. Third prompt right there. So here's some examples of, there's 15 examples right here. So we'll move down and see what do we got here. I have a business in this industry in my city. I need to accumulate more reviews for my business. How can I get more authentic reviews quickly to grow my business? And by the way, just on the subject of reviews, you never want to buy reviews.
Oh, no.
Don't let people tell you, oh, we'll get you 50 5-star reviews. You don't want that. So I want to create a lead magnet for my business, or, you can tell it lead magnet, you can tell it landing page. You can, it'll build a whole funnel. Well, it'll tell you what goes in the whole funnel. And I want to start a business selling a product or service. So these are great.
I've already been using stuff like that. Probably do that.
Yeah, so I'm building out the social media strategy and everything. So I've had it come up with like 15 ideas for each type of.
And you just collaborate on each one.
Well, basically I use this as like a short list and I'll choose which one that actually.
All right, we're going to stop the live stream. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. And oops, there we go. Really enjoyed having you today.
I have a weird problem. It's like, it's simple and complicated at the same time.
Jeffrey,
It's frustrating.
you're hilarious.
So you were saying
Thank you.
$100 off that.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. So the second second Tuesday in November, we are doing sales strategies right ahead of Black Friday. So you can maximize your sales efforts over the holiday.